I think my one closing tip or thought, I always tell people, Dr. Sabrina, ask for a smile before you ask for a sale. That's really one of the principles of personal branding. So many times we ask for the sale. But if you just ask for the smile first, which only takes, and you build that fan base, build that community, then you will. You can't help but print money and make sales. Can't help it.
You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question. What has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist, the author of How to Hire the Best, and your co-host on the Profit by Design podcast. Weekly, my co-host, Mike Bruno, and I bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests, who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real-life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire. Profit designers, are you ready to take your life back from your business? If so, I invite you to join us in the Entrepreneurs Take Your Life Back Facebook community that we've started at Tap the Potential. Chances are, if you have a growing business, you're paying a team, and you still feel like you're having to do it all. It shouldn't be this way. Work should support life, not the other way around. And at Tap the Potential, we support entrepreneurs like you in designing sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. In our Entrepreneurs Take Your Life Back Facebook group, I'm sharing with you lots of tips, tools, and strategies to support you in a business that gives you your life back. When you join our community, you will get access to exclusive mini trainings from me, including the Better Business, Better Life Jumpstart, as well as the How to Hire the Best Jumpstart. These free trainings are available only to the members of the Entrepreneurs Take Your Life Back Facebook community. There's no charge to join. I would love to see you there and get to know more about you. To join us, go to tapthepotential.com/group. That's tapthepotential.com/group. Well, Ramon, welcome to the Profit by Design podcast. As we dive in, I want to just share, this is our first time to live stream the Profit by Design podcast as we're recording. So those of you watching this, Ramon is the honored guest. I knew he would be totally great for this. And so as we dive in, I want to share with you that I'm your co-host on the Profit by Design podcast. I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist, author of How to Hire the Best, and the soon to be released October 2021 publication of The 4-Week Vacation, the Entrepreneur's Ultimate Guide to Taking Your Life Back. And with that in mind, everything that we talk about on the Profit by Design podcast is around designing a sustainably profitable business that gives you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. If you have not yet downloaded my chart of how to make your time worth $10,000 an hour as an entrepreneur, you want to get your hands on that. It's available at tapthepotential.com/10K. tapthepotential.com/10K. And that will also get you an invite straight into our Entrepreneurs Take Your Life Back Facebook community, where we're all gathering and working and supporting each other on building the sustainably profitable business that gives us more time for what matters most. And my greatest, highest purpose is to get to have these kinds of interviews with entrepreneurs like Ramon, who can share with us their journey. Ramon has been at this longer than me, Ramon. Oh my goodness. And so there's so much. 20 years. So there's so much that we can learn today from Ramon. So as we dive in, I want to share with you all you need to know about Ramon. He is an in-demand expert on small business success. He's a global keynote speaker, event host, and MC, entrepreneur, and best-selling author. Ramon inspires and educates thousands of business owners a year and works with leading brands to help them reach small businesses. As a matter of fact, he just, within the last month, became the entrepreneur in residence at Oracle
Oracle NetSuite. So Ramon is touching many, many lives with what he's sharing. Ramon started 4 companies and sold 2 of them. His 4th book, Celebrity CEO, is about building a community and personal brand. Ramon has been invited to testify at the United States Congress and speak at the White House, and has shared the stage with celebrity business thought leaders such as Seth Godin, Simon Sinek, Gary Vaynerchuk, and others. He's interviewed all 5 Shark Tanks, including Daymond John, Barbara Corcoran, Lori Greiner, Mark Cuban, and Robert Herjavec. Ramon has also interviewed President Obama and joined Ivanka Trump at the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in India. So everything you need to know about Ramon can be found at RamonRay.com, RamonRay.com. So Ramon, as we dive in today, I want to just share with our profit designers how I came to know you. And really, you shared something years ago when I first encountered you that was a light bulb moment for me. So I heard you speak at ProfitCon. When ProfitCon and Profit First were itty bitty baby, it was a baby business, and ProfitCon was just getting started. And you did a keynote, and it was about depression and entrepreneurs. And what really stood out to me, it was not surprising to me. I knew the statistics about depression and entrepreneurs and the mental health challenges. What surprised me was hearing how it resonated in the room and the other entrepreneurs in the audience talking about it afterwards, and the conversations that were happening in the hallways afterwards and at dinners and at meals. And I thought, wow, this is a bigger, deeper issue than I had really paid attention to. And as the business psychologist, it became just part of that fire that I have for talking to entrepreneurs about quality of life and taking care of ourselves and making sure that we're doing the things that we need to do. So you've been a big part of my fire and, pushing me forward. And that's why I'm so honored to have you here. And I've been following you since then, and you're just doing so many great things for entrepreneurs. You're out there in such a big way. What is your why? What drives your fire?
Yeah, there's a few things. And Dr. Sabrina, thank you for having me here today. Thanks for having me in your community. I have a mutual admiration for you. Been honored you've seen me on stage, and I've been honored to interview you on different occasions we've done for a mutual client of ours and other things like that. So thank you for what you bring to the world and the fire in your way that you show up as well. And I must say, as I have the marketing and branding side of the world, but boy, what you're doing, the building a sustainable business, it's what we all need. So thank you for allowing me to learn from you as well. I think the why is a few things. I think that for sure, brutally honest, paying rent and providing for my family keeps me quite a bit motivated every day. My wife will tease me. We're a single income family. She'll say, Ramon, get off that couch and make money for the family, teasing me. I'll be like, okay. But I think it's interesting is that one, in the purpose, values, missions of Smart Hustle, we talk about the inspire and educate small business owners. And I really like that part of inspiring. As you kind of get a sense, Sabrina, I may not be the one who goes deep of building a business. I can, but that's your gift. But me, I kind of like that surface, the fun, get up, what's your mojo? Hey, I'm slapping myself, those from the audio. Get up, let's do it. Put on the big girl, big boy pants. That's what I like about entrepreneurship. That's what I bring, the fun. So that really gets me, the inspiration. And I think the education part of it, I can go deep in some things, but really, I stay a bit on the surface. I like just pointing, say, hey, go check out this resource, that resource, Marie Forleo's kind of Figure It Outable and all those kind of things, the work you do. So that really inspires me. But I think secondary to that, which is not about the business, but I'm sure as you train people and help people, you can't do what I'm about to say until we have thriving businesses, making a good profit where we're blessed to live well in a humble way, but it's really the impoverished and disadvantaged. I don't think I can make everybody wealthy. It's too much. I just can't do that in the world. But I mean, it's the child who may be going through, I'll put it this way, some yucky times in life. It's that 18-year-old who's struggling to finish high school, and I can feel myself tearing up almost as I say it. So that's really the secondary why. And sorry for going so long, but that's the secondary why, kind of, if that makes sense. Not the business side, but I want to have wealth so I can pay somebody's rent. So I can go to a project of a single mother, a single father and say, listen, we just bought your groceries for a year.
That's awesome. So it's the opportunity to give back and have an impact in a big way that drives you. And that, as I work with business owners and really get them out of the day-to-day of the business, that's what I see is kind of like, oh, now we're able to look up out of the ground here and look up and what's possible with a sustainably profitable business, and that we can use what we're creating. We can use profit to give back to the communities that we're in and make a bigger difference. And so oftentimes profit gets, a dirty connotation, like somehow we're bad for wanting to have these profitable businesses. But really, profit can do so much good out there in the world. As you are all about branding and marketing, and your book, Celebrity CEO, is about the need to really be a personal brand in addition to the business brand. And I have to share with you, I've had your book, I've read through it, and it's something that in my world, I've always put the intention on, I need to tap the potential. I need to focus on getting this out there. And just in recent weeks, it's been like pounded into my head that I need to have a personal brand in addition to tap the potential. And where that really struck me is that as I have extricated myself out of the day-to-day of tap the potential so that I have the opportunity to do things like this and have these really cool conversations, it's also created that sense of, who am I if I'm not this business? If this business doesn't need me, who am I? And so that's a place that I've been in the last year and a half, 2 years trying to work through. And then what dawned on me in the last couple of weeks is having a personal brand allows me to go bigger than tap the potential and still serve tap the potential. But this work supports life message that I'm so passionate about. Work supports life, not the other way around. It's not just for small business owners. It's for their team members. It's for all professionals and people who who have jobs and who feel the pressure to work, to grind it out. And there's a cost to that. There's a cost of mental health in families. And you shared a Facebook Live a couple months ago where you got really vulnerable and honest about the challenge you're dealing with in regards to your time and figuring out how to manage your time. And I want to just invite you to talk some about this here, because I think it's something that so many of us can relate to.
So I just wanted to touch on that for those listening and understanding, is that I think we're going to unpack Dr. Sabrina right now. So, she has tapped the potential, living by itself, growing. That's the brand. And I totally get the struggle. And I think, just to put a bow on that, I think that what I advocate, my passion for the personal branding side, is that for those, this doesn't have to meet all those dots, but people, you have a great smile, great personality, great voice, you can communicate, you're engaging, and you can do a book and podcast, things that Dr. Sabrina's doing. That's all. That's the kind of thing I meant. That's the person. If I was the Dr. Ramon, I'd say, Dr. Sabrina, you need to do personal branding, because tap the potential. If you sell it, if it goes without you, if whatever happens, a big company buys it. But to your point, Dr. Sabrina, she can do whatever she wants within a variety of wheelhouses. So I'll move on, but
Right.
I just wanted to unpack. That's why I'm so strong in personal branding, because I think that we can build great companies, but many of us have that personality that we can hook other things on.
Well, and I'm glad you circled back to that, because that was an important point that I wanted to make, that we have business owners at Tap the Potential who have gone through our Tap the Potential solution, and they have freed themselves from the day-to-day of their business, and they're looking at what's next. And those are the very ones who are their industry, they're thought leaders in their own industry. They're highly regarded. So they have huge opportunity to do that, what's next, and to have that greater impact in the world once they're out of the day-to-day. So I just want to throw this out there for those of you who are listening and you're thinking, I'm trying to figure out who I am and what I do outside of my business. Think about your personal brand and check out Ramon's book, Celebrity CEO. I think it will give you some good things to think about there.
Time management and beyond. And let me know if and we can go back and forth. Let me know if I'm answering the question in the way you have intended it. So as I look just today, because as we do this, we're also doing the live experience, which I'm happy about. So there's the podcast guests and there's the live experience. I'm looking at my tabs right now. I have a blog post I need to write to my clients. I work with large brands, tech companies mainly. That's one thing I do, blog posts for my own lead generation, right? That's the marketing side of what I do. So I have a blog post to do. I have a publicity thing that I'm supposed to write. Hey, a company wants me to, Ramon, we want to cover you, so we need you to write some stuff. Then I have my taxes at this time. It's about 3 days. I know I have to the 17th, but I had some issues behind the scenes. I changed some companies, and so I'm a bit late. But anyways, my people are working on that. So they, of course, as the owner, I have to approve, I have taxes. I'm just looking, 10 things to do today as we tape this. And then the other thing I think we talked about offline, and then I have this big network of people, Dr. Sabrina, and I'm sure you can identify as well as different buckets. I have clients, those who say, Ramon, we have a check for you. Well, that's, hopefully it doesn't come out crass, but that's like a priority. If you have a check tied to your phone call, Ramon will take that call. I think anybody can understand this at this level of the business I'm in. Then I have my team, actually. My team, I have my content manager, I have my amazing executive assistant, all that's part of the first part, but meaning when they call, being a leader to them, right? And all that. Then you have business development, working with great friends like Dr. Sabrina, right? We support each other. Hey, Ramon, can I get a minute or talk, whatever it is, or mutual things that you can just do together. That's in the biz dev column. But then you have the people who, great, we love these people, but people, can I pick your brain? Put that category. Can we just chat? I get a lot of, I'm a part of networking groups. Ramon, can I have a coffee with you to learn more about what you do? And if anybody's hearing this, don't take offense. Dr. Sabrina asked me, so I'm just opening up. So that fourth bucket, I'd be curious what you do, is like, that's where it's like, what do I do? They're not in the bucket of, Ramon, we want to hire you, or can you recommend somebody? That's easy. Go see Dr. Sabrina. Go enter her funnel. Go enter her course. It's not, Ramon, I have a referral for you. It's just, can I find out? What I do is on RamonRay.com. Do you really want to have a coffee? So let me pause there a minute. Go ahead. That was the struggle.
That is the hardest one, because I love to give back. I have a big passion for helping entrepreneurs coming up behind and going through what I went through. And I want to do everything I can to short circuit their school of hard knocks. Like, if I can shorten that and save them from some of the school of hard knocks, I want to do it. And so at the same time, I work, Ramon, 25 hours a week is what I try to do. 25 hours a week, so that I have plenty of time to read great books like your book and to learn and further my own development. And I have to keep growing myself. So there has to be time for that in there too. And taking care of my family, to have time for exercise. And to me, it's really important whenever I'm showing up anywhere to be fully present and engaged. And so all of that being said, I don't feel like I'm in a good place to have a conversation with someone who wants to find out about what I do. And, can we grab a quick coffee and maybe I can pick your brain a little bit. That's why I do the Profit by Design podcast. That's why I've written my books. That's why we have the Entrepreneurs Take Your Life Back Facebook community. I have taken what I would have as those small conversations that would happen one-to-one. And I've really thought about, how can I put these on loudspeaker to serve as many entrepreneurs as possible? And so, I don't have a good answer for how to respond to that, other than to say, share with me what your specific challenge is and what you're looking for support on. I typically will do a short little video, and I will broadcast it out there I'll make it for them, but I'll also broadcast it out there to others, so that it's not just words of wisdom that will serve that one person, but words of wisdom that will serve others. That's where I am with this right now. I would love to hear how you navigate this.
What you said is so smart and brilliant. I want to underline the last thing you said, is that I give the knowledge when you can. You may not, out of 10 people, you may say, let me pause and answer Jimmy's question or Becky's, but you share with others. So that's one tactic that I do as well. And it's a good marketing tactic. You took the time to do a 3-minute video, 10 ways to paint your walls better. Why share that just with Jonathan? Let me share that with everybody. So that's more content, right?
Yeah, because if Jonathan wants to know, others want to know.
Right. So that's one. I love that aspect of 10Xing our own content. But I think too, as you said and hinted, I did a similar thing. I have a Facebook group. And that's where, generally speaking, pretty much everybody, once I hear a bit more, you know what? No problem. If you ask me that question in the Facebook group, I or others will answer it. So that tactical question you had, nonprofit business plans, how do I do it? Put it in the group. And then I think the third thing is, I like what you said also, usually the aspect, and my executive assistant, in fact, I want to shout out Jamie. She's helped me have a little more thicker skin because I'm a mush ball. I say yes to everybody. Ramon, can you come by and help me vacuum the floor? Can you wash my car? Can I pick your brain? Can you give me a 4-hour seminar about personal branding? Yes. Jimmy's like, Ramon, stop. You're killing me, Ramon, your calendar. But the point being is that what I learned in that, when I get the specific question, it helps. So Sabrina says, Ramon, can I pick your brain? I want to have a cup of coffee with you. Now, if it's Dr. Sabrina, it's going to be yes. We know each other and we've crossed the different thresholds. But I did a great webinar, 10,000 people. Somebody says, can I pick your brain? Great. Thank you so much for asking me. Or by the way, I know as you do, other people may answer it for me, which helps too. And then I say, can you just be more specific? If you want to know about me, just go to my website. But can you be more specific? Then they really find out, Ramon, I'm struggling with, I don't know, how to bury my cat or what. Sorry, that's a bad example, but how to sell my home. I'm trying to give non-business examples. Great. You want to know how to sell your home. My buddy so-and-so has this resource, or did you check out SCORE, SBA, Dr. Sabrina? That really was the question. All you wanted to know was how to use Twitter better. We don't really need to meet for coffee about that.
Yeah.
But then I get to it and I respect it. Ramon, I want to meet you and shake your hand. I get that. I'm humbled. I want to do the same with others. But then I try to serve them more. Hey, why don't you check out my next live event with Dr. Sabrina if you want to meet me again? Or can you wait 3 months? I'll be in Orlando speaking. I would love to spend 2 seconds with you there after I come off stage. So is that helpful also, Dr. Sabrina? That's how I had to modulate that too.
Yeah. It's totally. And I heard something in there that I'm curious about. You mentioned having an executive assistant. My executive assistant is critical in holding me accountable to, when we think through ideal schedule. We've done that twice in the last year and a half, and it's always changing because things are evolving and the responsibilities that I have in the business are evolving. And she will say, here's what your schedule looks like. Does this really, are you sure? Does this make sense? And then it makes me stop and think, okay, well, we've got to find another way to serve and address this. So I think an executive assistant can be a great support for helping us manage our calendar better. And I hear in your thinking that you are always thinking about highest and best use of your time. And you're juggling that with how do I serve? Because the way you answered, it's really clear to me. You're a people person. You want to support and help others. And, anybody who needs help, you want to be there and help them. So figuring out highest and best use of time as you serve. And I think that's the crux of the challenge we have in entrepreneurship as our businesses grow, is how do we balance that? So I want to invite those of you listening, if you're listening live right now, comment and share, how are you navigating this for yourself? And if something that Ramon and I have shared has been helpful to you, definitely comment on that. And those of you who are listening to this on the Profit by Design podcast, come on over into the Entrepreneurs Take Your Life Back Facebook group and comment and share on how you manage your time and juggle these priorities. The How to Make Your Time Worth $10,000 an Hour chart that I've put together and the training that I've done on the podcast is all about helping us navigate this and manage that. So that, again, that's available at tapthepotential.com/10K.
May I ask one more question? I just wanted one follow-up. I wanted to ask you another tip or hack, especially for those of us who are on people's podcasts quite a bit. Now, I know it's hard in the reverse, but one thing I stopped doing, unless it's Oprah or I don't know, whoever the famous person is, I don't do pre-podcast interviews. I would just be curious your vote on that.
Oh, totally.
Once in a while, out of the 10 podcasts or 100 podcasts, I don't get it often. But 10%, hey, can we have an hour of Ramon's time before the hour scheduled podcast to pre-interview Ramon? I've stopped doing it unless it's really, high value. And everybody, I don't mean to be egotistical, but meaning because I trust the interviewer is going to ask me the smart questions that I can answer. I'm not going to talk about finance. That's not my jam. I'm not going to talk about how to breathe deep. They know what I'm about. So what do you do? Am I okay on that, or am I missing something?
I'm so with you on that. And my main reason for discouraging, I have not done a pre-podcast interview in a very long time. We've hardly ever done them on the Profit by Design podcast. And the main reason I discourage that is I want you showing up here fresh and we're having an authentic, original conversation, not canned. Even going into when we came on right before we started, we hit the record button. I said, here's 3 things that I want to hit with you. I try to keep that conversation pretty short because I don't want us to, the worst is when the guest gives the best content before we hit record. And I'm like, oh, and then we talk about it in the record and it's not the same.
You guys are crying and laughing and saving the world. And you're like, we're not even doing the podcast yet.
There's no recording going. So I try to keep that really short and tight and then keep it moving so we can go right into the podcast. And one of the things that I do as people come on to the Profit by Design podcast is I check in with, can we go personal and vulnerable? Because we want to tell the real stories of entrepreneurship here. And so Ramon, you gave me permission. So I want to ask you, at this stage, you've even had this 20 years. and you're still learning and growing and evolving. What are your current growing edges right now?
How personal do you want me to get?
Real. Like, where are you in the entrepreneurial journey? Like, where are you stretching and finding yourself challenged?
So I'll explain this, and I hope I don't offend the person I'm going to talk about, but I'm just going to go with it because they're a big boy. So my son joined me in working with me to grow Smart Hustle a few months ago as we do this live today. And recently he said, and I'm so proud of him, Dad, you know what? I really want to continue to grow my own business. So that's one personal thing, is that we're working together. We don't, no bad beef. I'm so blessed and grateful. Could have been toxic, but we love each other. But it's like, in a way, I'm like, oh, my son's working with me. And then a few months later, it's changed a bit. And what he was working on was a third leg of our business, Dr. Sabrina, is how to monetize better the community of Smart Hustle. This is the bottom line. The first two legs I do as a speaker, taken off and growing. I am over flooded with speaking engagements. Second thing, my brand sponsorships. Oversubscribed with the tech brands who want to work with Ramon on a variety of campaigns. Those 2 areas of our business, rocket ship. But the third leg, kind of what we're talking about now, all these people who know, like, and trust Ramon, I don't know what to do with them. So my point is, that's where I'm growing is, I guess, I don't know if you can help me unpack this better, but the third leg is A, how to grow a new profit center. 2, the emotional feeling of family and all that, which we can go into, but family and son. And as I've hinted to that's 2. And then 3, I think really understanding it. I should probably just join your course is how to scale. Should I scale? Should I just be happy with the 2 parts of the business? We're profitable, So I'll pause to let you help me say it better. Because sometimes, I don't know about you on interviews, do you feel you're talking, but you're confusing yourself? And you wonder if the person you're talking to is confusing? So when I talk sometimes.
You're very clear. And so what I know as the business psychologist is when we're talking about our growing edges, because we're stretching and growing and it's not clear yet, there's muddy waters, right? And so those muddy waters happen before we get to clarity. And so for you, it feels very much like, I'm just talking. I don't know if this makes any sense. It makes total sense to me. Here's what I hear. Number one, your son, he's in that place in life where he's exploring who he wants to be. And the coolest thing that he's learned from his dad is the value of entrepreneurship and enjoying being the entrepreneur. And he wants his own thing. So even though I'm sure it would feel wonderful, like if he's a big part of your company and you two can work together, that feels like, wow, we're doing this together. And at the same time, maybe the highest honor that he's giving you and what he's learned from you is, Dad, I really want my own thing. That's really cool.
And you know what? It was because he has his own company already, but meaning out of the few months we were together, he's like, oh, team meetings. And he repeated back all the things he's learning, stuff that when you teach to people. So please continue. But you're right. He said, Dad, when working with you, my eyes are open to the potential I have to grow his own business. So yes, continue on though. Yes.
Yeah. And I want to acknowledge, I have the same feelings within Tap the Potential because I want team members at Tap the Potential who are entrepreneurial. They need to understand what our clients are going through. So I encourage them to be thought leaders in their own areas, and I encourage them to have their own businesses. Then that sometimes means they're going to go. And that is like, oh, that's so sad. But at the same time, I want that for them, because if we stifle that, then we're just stifling growth, and that's not going to be healthy anywhere. But to speak to the other side of what you're looking at, I totally get this. You see potential in your community and that there is a way to generate a revenue stream from that, and that will also allow you to serve at a greater level. And so you have your other parts of your businesses, the speaking, the sponsorship, that's going gangbusters. And now, so I have a couple of reactions to this. If I were coaching you, Ramon, I would look at what is your long-term vision. So 3 years out, 10 years out, and to really think about what do you want to create and how do you want to be in the world over the next 5-10 years. And I actually had a conversation with another entrepreneur along these lines, and she's in her late 50s. And she said, I don't want to talk about 10 years out. I really want to talk about now. How I want to experience my life now, because I have this short window. She was talking about spending time with her grandchildren. And she said, I can go gangbusters with my book and my intellectual property and really blow that up. And I can see that would be awesome. And it would be a wonderful thing if I put all that effort in now, in 5 or 10 years, where it'll be. She said, but the now is what's most important. because I want to spend the time. I have this window with my grandkids right now. And so that's what I would encourage you to think about, is that what is it that you want 3 years out, 10 years out? And also, what is it that you want to be experiencing now? And designing what you do with this, if you do anything with it, around what matters most.
Listen, I appreciate that. And hey, if there's time, we can unpack it a bit more. Right live, we can unpack Ramon's business.
I would love, because I can tell this is connecting with you. I can see you're getting emotional about it. And so I would love to just hear from you when I say what matters most in the now. What comes up for you?
I'll tell you the struggle, and thank you. So, wow, we're going to unpack Ramon Ray at Smart Hustle with Dr. Sabrina. Okay, here we go. So I think the first two, and my son and others have asked me this, is what I enjoy most. Crushing the stage, saying, Ramon, 45 minutes, can you come and speak for a fat check? And I say fat check humorously, but meaning the aspect of making a great profit. This is what we want to do as business owners. I'm not competing with Walmart or Amazon, going the cheapest price. So that's one. I enjoy that most. And it's funny, my son and I had this discussion because he likes coaching. And he's like, Dad, you don't want to have a mastermind with 10 people and have them paying you $5,000 whatever each and going to Italy, like some people do. I'm like, no, I don't. I like to transform lives, but I don't want to talk to Becky and Jimmy for 4 hours. No. I want Verizon to give me $50,000 and fly me to Texas and speak and MC and host and leave. That's my perfect gift.
That's you.
That's me. So that's one. And then two, I do love the aspect of selling. I love brand sponsorships, deals, and how can we get Dell at South by Southwest and navigate that whole deal and then have a team execute. That's my sweet spot. Navigating big, TV, radio, logos and branding and all that. So here's my thought. Course creation and the things that you do, community development, especially when people are paying, that takes a lot of work. I know. I do some work with Seth Godin's Akimbo, right? And coaches and what it takes to do that and the students. So I know in my heart that's probably not what I want to do. And we can talk about some of this offline, but I'll be as vulnerable as I need to be. But I realizing partnerships may be where I want to go. And I'll just tell people right now live, whether it's cut from the podcast, who knows? We'll see if it goes. But I would rather send my people to Dr. Sabrina. That's what I'm thinking, because I know, we all have similar knowledges. I've grown businesses. I'm not an idiot, but to build it and to teach it, it's just not even as I'm saying it, I'm like, I'm already getting sidetracked. Even as I'm talking, I'm boring myself as I talk. So meaning I'd rather say, hey, Smart Hustle community, thousands of people who know, like, and trust me. If y'all want to go in deep on a 4 months, 6 months, whatever it is you have, you should check out my joint venture or my partnership with Dr. Sabrina and me take a percentage of it. So I'm thinking that could be like, if I could identify 3 to 5 partnerships along the lines of the Smart Hustle, what I teach.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I may want to do that.
So as I hear that, I'm like, oh, we should definitely talk about that. So that is an opportunity for you to not do the coaching. You're real clear. The coaching, the retreats, all that, that's not you. You want to be on stage. You want to have that big impact, have the big check that comes from that, and move on to the next thing. And that's your gift. It's so clear that's your gift. You're brilliant at it. And so when we do the things that are not our gifts, they drain our energy and they take energy from our gifts. And one of our immutable laws at Tap the Potential is be a gift from your gifts. We have our journals here. And I firmly believe when we are working from our gifts, we are energized, and it gives us energy in other areas of our life to have a bigger impact. But when we start working from areas that are not our gifts, it drains our energy and pulls us off track. As I was listening to you, I was like, I love the teaching. I love creating a space for sharing something that's going to blow someone's mind. So I want to be on stage. I want to blow their mind with something about entrepreneurship, like that you can have a life and be an entrepreneur at the same time, and then show them how. Like, to see that from here's where I'm struggling, like I'm working 70 hours a week, my kids don't know me, to I've got a life. I've taken my life back. That transformation to me just totally lights me up.
And you do it so well. And my audience have told me, Dr. Sabrina, one person told me, her name is Ruchi. I'll shout her out because she's our metaphor. When I represent who our audience is, it's Ruchi Penniger. She's a financial person. But the point is, yes, she told me, Ramon, you don't teach us how enough. Not in a bad way. I was asking because I'm the inspiration, all this. But to your point, what I don't like, I can talk about how to use Canva like nobody. I'll crush anybody. Trust me on that. How to get publicity and PR, I can give a masterclass on that. I've done it over and over again. But it's like, to do it, it's like, and my son is a good dad. Why don't you teach this? You could do coaching on publicity. you could feel her. I just like,
Yeah, that's your sign. You've got to pay attention to that feeling. So I believe that the questions we ask determine the solutions we find. And if we don't like the solutions we're coming up with, we need to ask a better question. And there's always an opportunity to ask a better and better question. So one of the questions that comes to mind as I hear you describe this growing edge is, if you knew with confidence that you could monetize your community and create another income stream from all that effort and work that you've put in to creating that community, and do it in such a way that it energizes you, what opportunities exist for that? And if I were coaching you, Ramon, I would say, if that question lights you up, take it and go talk to all the people you know who are entrepreneurs at a high level, who've probably encountered this question for themselves, and ask them, what opportunities do you see that I may not be paying enough attention to? Or have you had this experience, and what did you do for yourself to solve that? I think it would get the ideas going.
No, I think you're right. And I'm excited actually speaking with you about it. So, but you asked for the edge, and now you know that is Ramon's edge.
I know the edge. And so in your edge, I think a lot of our listeners and viewers will relate to that edge, because we are all faced with, we see opportunities in our business. There's entrepreneurs. We can create an opportunity at the drop of a hat, and we will spot one where everybody else won't even see it and be like, whoa, that's a huge opportunity. And we feel compelled to pursue it and to develop it. We have to be very careful. For everything that we say yes to, there are no's. And so we need to know what those no's are, and if we're going to do this. So another question I would have for you to think about is, if I'm going to say yes to developing this, what am I saying no to as I do that?
No, you're right. It's 100% everything, yes or no. I think you're exactly right. And I think I'm honing in that, Sabrina, much better and better as time goes on, because what I'm doing, and again, for those who are hearing the sound of my voice, I say this in humility, but I am saying a lot more, or putting up a few more barriers to, and the common one is, Ramon, can I have a coffee with you, or can I have a chat to find out more what you do? I just say yes to all those, because it's just hard to say no, but I'm firmly being more, and I cry very easily. So I feel myself tearing up even as I say the word no, because it's such a revolting word for me. I don't say no, I have a different way I say it, but that's the essence of it. But I'm doing more to that because I have to say yes more to working for more, either my family, or, let's face it, strategic relationships, it's business, Dr. Sabrina, or other people who I'm working with that I can see either how can I really help them, or how can they help me, or something mutual there, just putting it in those two broad buckets. Because you're right. The more and more that I'm saying, yeah, let's take 2 hours and walk in the park and chat about flowers. If it's not my wife or my kids, it's a waste of both of our times.
It is. So you just, as you said that, I remembered that I had someone reach out to me the other day, and they were in startup phase, and they said, can you help me? And I said, I am not the best person to help you. I have not been in startup phase for 15 years. That's not my area of expertise. It's not what we focus on at Tap the Potential. Those are not the conversations that I have every single day. The conversations I have are with established business owners who are adding team. And maybe they're just, they're 3 years in and they're adding their first team member, or maybe they're 10 years in and they're like, I'm so frustrated with team members and employees in this whole business. But those are the conversations I'm having every day. And I'm not in a good place. I'm not going to be the best person. I would be doing a disservice. And so just like you talked about, having that other resource and saying, here's where you need to go for this information. Ramon, this has been such a wonderful conversation. You've talked to me through some of my growing edges. I hope that I've been helpful to you around your growing edges. And I hope that us sharing where we're growing and stretching is useful to those who are listening to this and watching this. And so I have a request, those of you listening and watching, comment, share how this has impacted you. How are you connecting with this conversation? Type it in the comments. Yes, let us know. And then we will continue these conversations on the Profit by Design podcast, because then that gives me feedback to know what resonates with our audience and what's on these entrepreneurs' mind and how we can best support. Ramon, I know that you're coming today and you have a gift to share with our viewers and our listeners. So I want to give you the opportunity to talk about that as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's great to be here, and just want to say it's really great to be here. And if I can help and serve anyone listening today, do let me know. You can check me out at ramonray.com, smarthustle.com. And I think my one closing tip or thought, I always tell people, Dr. Sabrina, ask for a smile before you ask for a sale. That's really one of the principles of personal branding. So many times we ask for the sale. But if you just ask for the smile first, which only takes, and those listening, I'm smiling. That's it. And you build that fan base, build that community, then you will. You can't help but print money and make sales. Can't help it.
Yeah, because that's connecting with other people. That's a wonderful tip. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ramon. Thank you for being with us. And we will wrap up.
Thanks for having me.
Bye for now.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Join our conversation in the Entrepreneurs Take Your Life Back Facebook community at tapthepotential.com/group. Share your aha moments from today's episode, ask me questions, and join in on the fun with your fellow entrepreneurs on the journey to designing sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. And finally, share today's episode with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this. If you're loving the Profit by Design podcast and have gotten any value out of it for your business or your life, would you mind doing two things? Subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode, and please leave us a review. Our listener reviews help us get into the top 10 of all entrepreneurship podcasts so that more entrepreneurs like you discover us. Your review is critical in helping us make a difference for more entrepreneurs who are ready to take their life back.